If you are doing these daily habits, you have to stop, as they are bad for your mental health. It's easier said than done, right? When you've been through narcissistic abuse, some behaviors stick with you without you even realizing it. You might think you're just being cautious or considerate. However, in reality, these behaviors are signs of deep emotional wounds. Today, let's talk about the 5 everyday habits that reveal you were a victim of narcissistic abuse. Are you ready for number 1? You feel guilty when you rest. Narcissistic abuse conditions you to think that resting is selfish. When you were with the narcissist, anytime you took a break, you likely heard them say, "Must be nice to do nothing," or "You should be helping me instead." Over time, this constant pressure rewires your brain to feel uneasy when you're not working, doing chores, or making yourself useful. Dr. Lindsay C. Gibson, author of Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, explains that narcissistic environments make people feel like their needs are insignificant. It leads them to overfunction just to feel valued. Even after escaping the abuse, this guilt doesn't magically disappear. You might struggle to enjoy a free weekend because you believe you should be getting something done. That's because your nervous system has been conditioned to associate stillness with danger. When you slowed down before, there were consequences, whether it was guilt-tripping, silent treatment, or outright criticism. The truth is that rest is not a luxury, but a necessity. Your body and mind need downtime to heal, process emotions, and regain energy. If you struggle with this, start small. Try reminding yourself that rest doesn't make you unworthy or lazy. It makes you human. You can also challenge the guilt by asking, "Who benefits from me believing this?" Breaking free from this mindset takes time, but as Dr. Nicole LaPera, author of How to Do the Work, says, healing happens when you stop abandoning yourself and start prioritizing your needs. So go ahead and take that break. You deserve it. Let's talk about number 2. You overthink texts and conversations. Do you find yourself rereading texts multiple times before hitting send, or worse, after sending them? You've been conditioned to walk on eggshells. Narcissistic abuse teaches you that even the smallest word choice can lead to an argument, punishment, or silent treatment. So now, every message feels like a potential trap. You wonder, did I sound rude? Or, will they take this the wrong way? It's exhausting. Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a clinical psychologist and author of Should I Stay or Should I Go?, explains that narcissists create a dynamic where victims constantly second-guess themselves. Even in face-to-face conversations, you might replay moments in your head, analyzing tone and expressions. Did I sound too aggressive? Too needy? Did I offend them? This habit comes from survival mode. You learned that the narcissist's mood can flip over the smallest thing, and you're left scrambling to figure out what you did wrong. Psychologist Dr. Carol McBride, author of Will I Ever Be Good Enough, calls this narcissistic-induced self-doubt, where victims lose trust in their ability to communicate normally because they were trained to expect backlash for simply existing. The truth is, most people aren't reading into your words the way you are. Healthy relationships don't require you to decode hidden meanings or anticipate someone's unspoken anger. If you notice yourself spiraling over a simple text or interaction, try pausing and asking yourself, would a reasonable person be upset over this? Odds are the answer is no. Learn to let go of the things that you can't control, which includes the narcissist's reactions. Let's move on to number 3. You constantly check if doors were locked. If you find yourself double, triple, or even quadruple checking whether you locked the door, you're operating from a place of deep-seated anxiety. Narcissistic abuse conditions you to live in a state of hypervigilance, always expecting something bad to happen. When you've spent years feeling unsafe, your brain learns to scan for danger, even in situations where there isn't any. Dr. Judith Herman, author of Trauma and Recovery, explains that long-term abuse can rewire the brain to stay in a constant fight-or-flight mode. It makes it hard to relax, even in your own home. When a narcissist has constantly made you feel powerless by invading your privacy, double-checking locks becomes a way to feel like you have some control. But here's the irony. Even after checking, you might still question yourself. Did I lock it? What if I forgot? That lingering doubt is the result of years of being told that your memory is unreliable or that you can't trust yourself. As Shannon Thomas, author of Healing from Hidden Abuse, puts it, survivors of psychological abuse often develop obsessive behaviors as a way to create predictability in a world that once felt completely unpredictable. The good news? This habit isn't permanent. Healing means learning to reassure yourself in healthier ways. The next time you find yourself checking the door for the 5th time, pause and remind yourself, I locked it. I am safe. If it helps, create a ritual. Say out loud, door locked, when you do it, so your brain registers the action. Over time, your nervous system will start to believe it. Now, let's continue to number 4. You overclean your surroundings. Do you constantly feel the urge to scrub, organize, and tidy up even when things are already clean? If so, you're likely trying to create a sense of control in a world that once felt completely unpredictable. A misplaced object, a speck of dust, or an undone chore may have triggered the narcissist's rage. Over time, your brain starts to associate cleanliness with safety. As trauma expert Dr. Bessel van der Kolk explains in The Body Keeps the Score, trauma survivors often engage in compulsive behaviors to create a sense of order in their environment when their inner world feels chaotic. This overcleaning habit isn't just about keeping things tidy. It's about avoiding conflict, even if there's no one left to criticize you. When someone has spent years nitpicking your every move, you learn to anticipate judgment before it even happens. You might catch yourself scrubbing a spotless counter, not because it needs it, but because it soothes your anxiety. The next time you feel the urge to clean obsessively, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to or because I feel like I have to? Healing means permitting yourself to exist in a space that isn't perfect, and realizing that a little mess won't bring chaos back into your life. With time, you'll see that true control comes from knowing you are safe, even when things aren't spotless. Finally, we're down to number 5. You skip self-care routine, like hygiene. You've likely spent so much time prioritizing the narcissist's needs that you've forgotten how to care for yourself. Dr. Annie Cassina, author of Do You Choose Your Abuser Over Yourself?, explains that victims of emotional abuse often develop a pattern of self-neglect because they've been conditioned to believe their needs don't matter. When your mind is weighed down by years of manipulation, even something as simple as washing your face can feel like an overwhelming task. Skipping hygiene can also be a form of subconscious rebellion. Maybe you were once forced to look a certain way, or criticized no matter how much effort you put into your appearance. If your abuser nitpicked your clothing, hair, or body, self-care might feel pointless. Why bother if you'll just be judged anyway? But remember this: reclaiming self-care is a powerful way to take back control. You don't have to go from zero to a full skincare routine overnight. Start small. Wash your face, change into fresh clothes, or brush your hair. These little acts of self-respect remind your brain that you matter. As trauma specialist Sarah Woodhouse puts it, caring for yourself isn't about vanity. It's about telling yourself every day, I am worth the effort. Breaking these habits won't happen overnight, and that's okay. Healing from narcissistic abuse is a process, not a quick fix. The important thing is that you're becoming aware of how the past still affects you, and that means you're already on the right track. Be kind to yourself, set boundaries, and remember that you deserve peace, not constant self-doubt. Little by little, you'll take back your power and start living for yourself again.